Hi guys, and welcome back to another video tutorial here at ReichelProductions, working on Blender Cycles 2.69. Today we're going to do a project which involves lenses. I will probably be doing a series of tutorials on creating lenses and working with lenses, the type of lenses that one can get. And this particular lens that we're going to be using is called a bi-convex lens, the type that's usually seen in a magnifying glass, and that is exactly what we're going to be creating, is a magnifying glass. Right, so let's get to it. Once again, I have made the left mouse button my button for selecting, and one can do that by setting that in the user preferences. So let's delete that, and what we're going to add is a UV sphere. To do that, let's go into front view and press Shift S, bring the cursor to the center, and we'll add our mesh UV sphere. We're going to go into ortho mode and tab, and now I'm going to click here to ensure that all the vertices are selected, not only the front ones. I'm going to select box select by pressing B, and then I'm going to delete the faces. Right, and now we are left with a dome. This dome is going to be part of our lens, and what we want is that the base of this lens is resting on the floor, on the grid floor. So what I'm going to do is just simply go into front view again, and I'm going to click on the bottom of the dome. You can click anywhere, any vertex, as long as it's the bottom row of vertices that you're selecting from. And what I'm going to do is cause the cursor to move there. Right, now that I've done that, all I have to do is go up here. I'm going to now click on origin and bring the origin to the 3D cursor, and you'll notice over here in the location of that cursor and that vertex, the position on the z-axis is 0.3. We want it on the grid floor, so that would be 0. If I enter 0 there, the dome immediately falls to the grid floor. Right, now all I have to do is just check where the origin is, and you'll notice now, of course, that the origin is on that vertex. So I'll just go over here and say origin to center mass, and that'll just bring that origin back to the center there. Now what we want to do is scale this down. Because our cursor is already at the bottom there, we will just select our pivot point to be at the 3D cursor, and when I scale along the Z axis, I can simply flatten this dome. Alright, that's great. Now what we want to do is to duplicate this, because this is going to be a bi-convex lens. At the moment we just have one convex side to this lens, so I'm going to go up here into the modifier, add modifier menu, and we're going to select mirror. I'm going to delete that x-axis, and we're going to mirror it along the z-axis. Now immediately there is another problem. Okay, I'm going to bring the origin back to the cursor, and then I'm going to select the z-axis. Right, now everything looks fine. I'm going to press smooth though, and when we do that, you'll notice that this bi-convex shape now looks like a pie that has been pasted together on the edges there. We don't want a pie, actually we would like a lens, right? So let's simply deselect merge, and that will sort that problem out. Great. We have now created the basic lens, and now all we have to do is add the extra parts to this magnifier. The first thing that we'll add is the rim to this lens. So let's just deselect everything, bring the cursor to the center, and I'm just going to move this to the second layer, pressing M. Right, now I'm going to add a mesh cylinder. This cylinder is closed off here, and the reason is our settings here, cap full tight and N-gon, we're going to change that to nothing, so that it's open. And scaling this along the Z axis, we'll just bring it down to about there, eyeballing it and opening the other layer there. We can get an idea, that should be about right. And just let's scale this down a bit to about there. I'm going to add a modifier to this rim, and we'll use solidify. Great. Oh, that looks just about right. And if I press smooth, you'll notice that the edges are a little bit jagged, and we'll just need to do some subsurfing there. Subdivision subsurface modifier, and yeah, that's about right. We can give it a little more thickness by turning that up a notch there. Great. Alright, so that is done, and what I'm going to do next is add a let me just go to layer 3. I'm just going to add another mesh cylinder. This time we're going to close it off. There we go. Going into side view, I'm going to scale this down like so, and then I'm going to scale it along the Z axis. Scale it along the Z axis a little more, roughly about there. Let's click on our other layers. Okay. Let's rotate this around the Y axis by 90 degrees, and rotate it around the Z axis by another 90 degrees, and then we'll grab it along the Y axis. Now the rim is quite thin, so we must just be careful that it doesn't go through. Once the magnifier glass is clear, we'll be able to check that out. In fact, we can check it out here, going into wire mesh mode. So let's just increase the thickness of this rim. That will make it easier for us. Okay, that should be about right. And right, and then I'm going to scale this along the Z axis, the Y axis a little more, and grab it along the Y axis again. Scale a little bit more. Right, now what we need to do is just deselect everything, and we're going to add a mesh plane. Unwrap this, going into UV editing, and we'll press tab to unwrap that, pressing U. Now we have all the vertices selected here, and then we'll add this image, which I've already loaded in by opening the file, and I'm going to scale this along the y-axis just to bring the text there more or less. We'll go back into the properties panel, selecting materials button, and we'll add a image texture, the one that we have just used, which will be there as well. And when we press the rendered view, we won't see anything because the image is underneath. We'll just scale this along the x-axis, and there it is. Now we need to give our magnifying glass some material. The handle, for instance, let's just give that a glossy black. Well, let's just give it a, yeah, it should be fine. The rim, what I'm going to do first with the rim is just duplicate it, pressing Shift D, and I'm going to scale it by pressing 0.98. So it's just a little bit inside that rim, and going into side view, pressing Z, scaling it along the Z axis. We just wanted to we just wanted to catch the edge of that lens. We'd hold that lens in the outer rim. Okay, so that's fine. And the outer rim will give a material here. We'll give it an anisotropic material. We'll make it a greyish material there, and we will give it a bit of roughness, and we'll increase the anisotropy there. And then the inside rim we have just made, that we will give a black, also, well, light black or grey, and we'll make this rather also a glossy material. Okay, so that should be fine. Let's just get rid of this here, then we can see how this is all looking. Alright, so that's looking okay. I'm going to give the world a sky texture, simply. Alright, and now most importantly we want to give the lens a glass material, glass shader there, and the material has an index of refraction, IOR again, of 1.55. This you can get from a very useful website called Pixel and Poly, and if you click on references you'll get to this page here. Under texture map links you'll find index of refraction list, and there you'll find the various indices. One of them of course is glass, which is 1.5. Not very important in this kind of project, but if you want to be accurate, then it is a good reference for you as far as index of refraction goes. I just want to bring this lens in because it looks like it's sticking out a little bit, so I'm also going to scale that 0.98, and that will bring it on the inside of that. And going to parent these now, so we'll parent the lens to the rim, to the outer rim, to the handle, and by pressing Ctrl P we'll press Object Transform. That's fine. Okay, so we'll grab this up along the Z axis, and there we go. I'm going to add a little bit of ambient occlusion to our world here, and I'll set the factor to 0.5. Right, now there's one thing that you'll notice: the lens is reducing the light. Normally with a convex lens you'll find that the light is concentrated in that area, and it should actually be a bit brighter, unless the magnifying lens is placed on the actual page. So what we need to do is work on that, and we'll use the node editor. Now the way we can adjust the brightness of this lens is by first looking over here at the white, and you'll notice it's not fully white, so we bring it all the way up. That already looks better, but I'm not happy with that, so I'm going to do a little trick here with the node editor. I'm going to add a refraction shader, pop that over there, and instead of the mix shader I'm going to add the add shader node, and you'll see immediately that that is very bright. Okay, but we don't want it that bright, so what I'm going to do is adjust it down with the refraction. Okay, and there we go. You can play around with this, you may not want it so bright, and you can even adjust this back down a bit, just a tad there. Alright, and that should create a nice lens effect. Right. Okay guys, I hope that's been useful for you, and I'll see you again in the next video tutorial. Please subscribe, share, and send your comments.